Everybody's Drew Waters talking to Chris Gordon on Hellblazer Bids.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, wherever you are in the world. This is Chris Gordon on Hellblazer Biz, and as you can see, and as you've heard, I am in the company of the esteemed actor, Drew Waters. Hey, Drew. Thanks for joining
me. Hey, everybody. Thanks for having me.
No, I appreciate you coming on. It's, I think a mutual friend of ours, Rick, pointed me in your direction.
Rick Perez. Oh, yeah, Rick Perez, man. He's been killing it. His career has been on an uphill climb for the last couple of years.
Yeah, he's doing really well. He's fantastic. I got him on here for Cobra Kai last year sometime, and I've been friends with him since. He's a tough sound guy as well, which you all are. This is what I love about talking to people like you. You're really down to earth, and you're so friendly and welcoming.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's easy when you have good company. So,
thank you. I'll take that as a compliment. Well, so we're here to. I mean, you've got a huge list of credits to your name anyway. But obviously, we're here to talk about. You've got a new film coming out, I know, which is Desperate Riders, which we'll get into, and there's also a TV show as well, which you're going to be, which you are on, which you have been filming. I'm not sure how much you'll be able to talk about that, but we'll try and get into it. But also your past career as well. So I mean, you've been on some shows which are like my top favourites of all time, like Bones, NCIS, LA, everything like that. So I mean. I'm going to start by going right back in that time. So with Bones, what was it like interacting with those guys? Because that just seemed like a fun set to be on.
It really was, especially my character. It's funny. My career's been a top show guest star for the last probably 12 years. And so I get to play these really fun characters for a week on a week run. And that cast, knowing that cast and stuff, they love the dynamics of characters, and they love pushing the boundaries and buttons within them. And so you always got to stay on your toes with them. And I was playing, I think we were doing a putt-putt golf tournament of all things. It was like the world champion of putt-putt golf tournament. We took it very, 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 very serious. And so, the Bones, the character and stuff, he came up to me and he was just pushing the buttons all day. That's not because it just challenges you, and so you just turn around and push it back and build the character even more and add more layers to it.
Fantastic. I love how you call it putt-putt golf. We call it crazy golf over here. It did take me a while to figure out what it was when people meant talking about putt-putt golf on TV shows. I was like, what's that? And then I realized it's just crazy golf.
Okay, so I really think it is a gentleman's way of challenging your in-laws, especially your father-in-law. If you're married, man, your father-in-law, and you hit football, it gets serious.
Oh yeah, you get those rivalry straight in there, like you're saying.
Yeah.
I never mind the father-in-law. It's me and my wife. We're bad enough when we're on it. My son comes on, and that's it. It's like my son doesn't stand a chance. It's like, right, this is war, kid.
Well, the problem is, me and my wife get on there and stuff. I said, I bet you I can get it to the next hole in one stroke. And so then you got to go over the dinosaur, through the water, skip across the hole.
Well, we've got it on the PS now. So we play it on the PS or the Xbox. I can't remember which one it is, but we play it on there. And my son's the same. He's like, me and my wife, we try to take it seriously, go the proper way. He's like turning the ball straight away, trick shot straight over. And he's like, right, okay, so that's all we do now. We do the same thing. It's like, just trick shot it across and try and get a hole in one.
You don't take putt seriously. That's why it's indestructible.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. You just throw it all over the place. We'll do whatever you can to try and get a hole in one. The amount of times I actually landed on someone else's holes, that sounds wrong. The amount of times Okay, the amount of times I've whacked the ball and it's gone somewhere on someone else's course, I'll put it that way. But that's what they say. That's what it's there for. So obviously, Bones, NCIS LA as well. Those guys, they're more. I think they seem fun, but it's a much more serious type of show. With obviously the cop drama and stuff like that. But you got L Cool J on there, and and Chris. What again?
Let me tell you something. L and Chris they're professionals when it comes down to their craft. But the funny thing about NCIS, I've done NCIS. NCIS New Orleans and NCIS LA, right? And NCIS New Orleans, I played a bad guy. And in NCIS LA, I played an FBI agent. And so the crossover was very unique. I'm trying to get on NCIS Hawaii right now. I need a tan, as you can see. So I figured I'd get out there and give me some sun.
Yeah, get the broad spectrum going. So, I mean, that must be quite difficult. Well, not difficult in a way, but pretty cool to get across the whole franchise of the 3 different shows. Because
NCIS is one of the longest running shows on network right now, and it's still going. And so to be a part of that and the history behind it, and then being able to go to each one of them, it's just because you're playing a different character in each one of them, so you get to have this opportunity to just. It's very unique and interesting, and seeing how everybody else plays their characters and the transformation that you create within yours as you're going into the next, NCIS LA or whichever one, because it always changes, and the franchise is different. It's the same, but it's different.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've got to say, I've not really much watched the original NCIS because I've got to get my wife into these things, and it's been there for a while. There's one on the backlist to try and get binge watch and catch up. But NCIS we love anyway, and I've got to say partially probably because of Daniela. She's
It's funny. I'm ex-Navy, so NCIS was right up my alley. It was great. When I got
fantastic!
Yeah.
So you kind of know exactly who they are, and fear them.
Like, oh, you're that guy.
Yeah. It's funny. They seem to have a reputation. They're really good at their job, but they have the reputation. They're the ones who come around and knock on the door in the middle of the night. Excuse me, sir. Been drinking too much.
I spent my whole career avoiding it, so.
Fair enough. So I mean, as well, obviously, I said there are many shows. I'm not going to go into each one for you, but what's your best experiences? Because I mean, or shall I say, I'll change that sentence to how have you found you've evolved yourself as an actor from all the different experiences that we had? Because like you say, you've had 12 years of being a guest on the top shows pretty much out there at the moment. So how have you found that as evolving yourself?
I tell you, man, it's what's been interesting about it is growing on set. I think Friday Night Lights was my biggest growth because it was the most challenging in the sense that we ad-libbed a lot and you had to listen. You were forced to listen and respond in the proper tone and direction. And so Kyle Chandler and Connie and cast like that were Taylor Kitsch and Jesse Plemons. I'm working with him right now on Love and Death, and Brad Leland. I'm working with him again. It's all come full circle, and getting to hang out with them and seeing how they approach being comfortable and okay with mistakes, and just moving the dialogue forward and the storyline forward, and allowing those mistakes to live within it really helped me a lot. And then that allowed me to become very comfortable. And that way, when I hit Breaking Bad, it was, Breaking Bad, rightly so. The writing on it was amazing. The creative behind it was just incredible. But it also gave me the confidence to go ahead, and if it felt right, do it, and let them decide whether or not to allow me to continue to do it or say no. Because it was, it's always a chance of last suck. Go back to the script. What are you? You trying something? What are you trying? Huh? Trying to change the show? Here, it's perfect. Always got that chance, and so I want to avoid that. Yeah. But I remember we were sitting there playing around on Breaking Bad, and the writer comes up to me for that episode. Comes up to me, he goes, no, I like it. Keep it up. Looks good. Sounds good. No, I like what you're doing there. Keep it up. I said, okay. I'll do it. Had a good time.
Fantastic. That sounds great. I love it when you can ad-lib as well. I'll always say this story because it's amazing. Erin Burns came on once, and she'd done a film called Cell. With Samuel Jackson, and there was a scene in it where her brother had been killed, and she was going to go back. And I just love how you, as actors, you're so honed in your craft that you know what other people are thinking. You know what you've been with each other. You know what people are thinking on set. because I think she was walking away and she thought, no, my character, on the spur of the moment, she thought my character would want to turn back and see her brother one last time. She said she turned around and felt this big, powerful arm on her, and it was Samuel Jackson. And he was like, no. And he turned her around to say, you don't want to remember him like that. And just turned and walked away. And that kept in the actual end credit, in the end cut, shall I say, because it was just, so good. And I just love hearing when you do Adlib and you're allowed to do that. You've got that freedom of expression where you can just nurture your characters up like that and think, on the spot, well, actually, might just say this right now and see how it goes. And then they let you have it.
I think that's the biggest thing, though. You're chasing down honesty. It's not within yourself, but within the character. And sometimes it comes from you personally and stuff. Sometimes it comes from the world that you build and create. Sometimes it comes from the atmosphere that you're in at that moment. But it's kind of do your homework ahead of time, understand and know everything, and then throw it away and forget about it. Show up and be a part of that world, be in that moment. And the funny thing about us is that, and the audience, because I'm a consumer watching the products as well. The funny thing about it is we can always tell when it's an afterthought, when you stop yourself from wanting to do something because it doesn't come off genuine. And that's when the mistakes start happening. But if you allow yourself just to be organic and take that opportunity, because you can always rerun it and, do it again. But it's take that moment because you never know. And it could be amazing. And most time, 9 times out of 10, they are.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I can't really answer that. It just sounds, I'm not even going to attempt to try and respond. That's part from saying that sounds really good. And the fact that, it does just roll with it. I'm sure there are times when it doesn't work quite often as well.
Well, I'll tell you, I rolled out of Friday Night Lights, and, we went from, 30, 35% ad-libbed on Friday Night Lights to I went to a movie called Wired to Blood with Robson Green, and I was a co-lead with him. Mm-hmm. And it was the creators and writers of Law and Order, Criminal Intent.
Oh, yeah.
They wanted everything said. I mean, every A and the D and all that said. And we had this, it was probably 100-yard dolly track coming out of the capital of Austin, Texas. And it's a walk and talk. And I have maybe 3.5 pages of dialogue. Mm-hmm. And Robson has 13 pages of dialogue.
Yeah.
And he says all his, and it's a oneer. They want to do it in a oneer. He says all his, and I say all mine, and they cut. And I remember the script supervisor came up to me and goes, "Hey, Drew, you missed the A." And I went, "What?"
Oh my God.
You missed the A. And I went, "Are you serious? We're doing this again?" I went to Robson. I was like, "I am so sorry, man. I'm so sorry."
Oh, wow.
He got 13 pages of just.
Yeah.
Yeah, they wanted which is understandable.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, that's our job, but gosh.
Yeah, there's pedantic and then there's pedantic. I think it's like, but he must have been listening really. For him, obviously, as a script, that's his job. So to listen to that intently, that he realised he missed one little tiny one digit word of A. That's intense.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's really good for me.
Yeah. 3.5 pages. You normally make up the other 5.
Oh my God!
What was Robson like? I've interviewed his. I remember Robson from when they did. This is a long time ago now. Him and Jerome Flynn, they did a thing called Soldier, which was like a military drama way back when. And I interviewed Jerome, his partner from there, a couple of years back when he was on Game of Thrones as Bronn. And we did talk about about Robson a bit there. So what's he like now? Because obviously that was.
I haven't spoken to him probably in about 8-9 years now. Yeah. Back then, he was great. Hollywood wanted him really bad, and he just did not want to go to Hollywood.
Yeah.
He was really set up in his ways. I know after that show, he did a few other shows, and then he had a fishing series.
Yeah, he does. He's still got that somewhere. Yeah, that's right. He's still got that. Yeah.
Which I was like, okay. That's a full transition. Here's going to go that direction.
Yeah, exactly. Gone from dramas, actions, and proper TV just to going out on a boat and fishing and making documentaries.
Yeah,
exactly. He makes money from it. Doing this something he enjoys doing. So I guess. But yeah, they did bring an album out which got rid. It was highly not controversial. Him and Jerome Flynn brought out one singing all the old wartime songs and stuff like that at one point, and it was. I used to have the album. It was all right. It was just.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'll try and track down the name. It's just called Robson and Jerome. They were called, and all the the Nightingale sang in Berkeley Square and stuff like that.
You gotta send me, if you find that link, you gotta send it to me.
Yeah, I think I did rib Jerome about it when we spoke on the stuff.
That's hilarious.
So yeah, I don't think they're that proud of it, but it might not be on their top list.
Was that shit again? Oh God, no.
It's pretty much what Jerome said when I said to him. But everyone remembers him for it. I mean, so obviously, kind of you've had lots of different experiences as well. So what's the kind of best one you've had when you've been sort of on set? I mean, it's probably really hard to say because they're probably all individually uniquely special.
Well, I think the beautiful thing, I mean, they really are. And they're all unique and special in their own way. But it's fun because the more I've been doing it for 18 years now, and each show I usually run into one or two different people, whether it's crew or cast that I've worked on in the past. And it's always fun to re-collaborate with them and see where they're at in their career and where I'm at in my career, and just the comfort level and just the camaraderie and collaboration of being on set with them again. I think that's what I enjoy the most. It's the opportunity to revisit some friends, and now you're creating you're in a new environment, creating new characters and interacting with it and stuff. But you never forgot where you met and came from. So you just pick right back up where you left off. Yeah. And to me, those are the fun moments. They really are.
Excellent. And I mean, the other thing as well, because you're not just in front of the camera, you are behind the camera as well. And I know you do a lot of those. Yeah. You've had quite a few. Christmas on the Range, I'll name as one, but there's several films out there that you've been a part of from behind the camera as well. So how have you found that experience transitioning from the front to the, from being the one being filmed to the one behind the scenes, calling the shots and writing, producing and directing?
It's funny. I met my wife, later in late 2012 on a movie. She wasn't my wife at the time, but we were co-stars on this Western called Redemption. And, we were shooting in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and I had a short film wrote that I wanted to do, and it was about a personal thing in my life, the loss of my grandfather, and he was my best friend. And so I just wanted to take a journey of life, from the youth all the way to the age, and just show the journey of life. Yeah. And so me and her were sitting there talking in between lunch and sets throughout the shoot, and I said, "You should read this." And she read it, and she said, don't do a short. No one sees a short. And I said, well, I don't think that's true. And she goes, well, you got so much time in it now. You should write a feature. And so we set out and wrote a feature, and we opened up our business in 2014, Argentum Entertainment. And we raised the funds, and we shot it in 2016 and took it theatrical. I mean, the whole 9 yards. It had a great cast in it. It turned out really well, had great reviews. And, it did really well. And I directed it. We created it and produced it. We did everything in-house, and then we sold it out. And then from there, I produced and directed a few more films and a few other little things, and a lot of commercials. And when we moved the company to Georgia a couple of years ago, bi-coastal now, and it's been an incredible time. It's we're production for hire here. I do a lot of directing on the East Coast, and then I travel a lot for that as well. And I still get the two loves. The directing and acting are my two loves. I love them both. I am a big fan of actor turned director, and director being an actor. I think they complement each other very well. You understand the lingo and how to interact better with the cast and vice versa. And you understand just the body language and structure of the set better. And so, and then put on top of owning a production company and being responsible for the money and all the other things, you can appreciate the value that goes into that and the resources needed to be able to facilitate it. And then how to facilitate when the resources aren't there. And so we've done it all. And some of the funnest, best times are on small sets because it's like a huge family. It's like a small family, it's like a small family. Everybody's chipping in, getting together, and you're creating and doing.
Definitely. I mean, that sounds great as well. You answered the question I was going to ask as well about that, about which you prefer, but obviously you love both. And a lot of people do. I've had quite a few people who've done both as well. And there is quite a lot of mixed reviews because some people don't like it and they don't like directors. They don't like that sort of. They're not keen on a director turning into actor and stuff like that. Or, but I think it's what you've said is that's what I believe. I thought it would actually benefit, and it would, being a director first, then going into acting, you'd understand, the both sides of things. Like you're looking at a beach ball. You can have two sides of the beach ball. Both of you can be right, but when you play both parts, you can actually take that step back, and it helps you grow. Because you'll be able to see things from the other point of view, from the other perspective. So when you go back to directing, you've got more of an understanding of what the actors, and likewise, when you've been directing, you go back to acting, you understand more of that background and apply it.
Yeah, I'm very much a actor's director. I love, I do my work at casting, and I remember having a conversation with one of my cinematographers. He kept asking me, he goes, why don't you ever go talk to the actors and stuff? I said, because I've already casted them. They know what they're doing. They're going to show up. And because most of the stuff that we write in-house, we have about 7 intellectual properties that we really like right now and that we're pushing. And then outside of that, we're always chasing down new ideas and scripts. But when I start reading a character or I start building a character and stuff, I have people in mind for it already, in the feel and the idea of it. And that way, when we start going into casting and getting tapes coming in, I start looking for not just the sellability of the name, but more so the human factor within the character that I created and the honesty with it. And if I can sit back going, there he is, there's that person, or there she is, then my job, 2/3 is done for that part of it. I've just checked off a big check mark, and now I can, and as long as I get the great team around me and stuff, it's such an enjoyable time. It's when you don't have the confidence of everybody around you that it comes a train wreck, and then you just, you put on your producer hat and your director hat, and you control the situation, and you make your days and you go in. But as an actor, I've always been intrigued with the technology, cameras, and so I know how to. I'm an editor. I do a lot of my rough ends, and then I send them out, and we sit in a room and stuff, and we deal with better people and bigger names that can do it better than me. But I like the tempo and get it roughed in, and because it's me as an actor. I cut my own demo reels. I cut, my wife's demo reels. I do all this stuff because it helps me get the tempo and the transitions that work really well that I feel don't take you out of the equation or the character's emotion. It keeps you engaged in it. And for being an actor going in there, because I went actor director, and I love both of them. I think in both of them, I'm very lucky, knock on wood, to be able to do both still. Last year was incredible. This year's turning out to be really good and strong. So the only complaint I have, I don't do it enough. And I don't know if I could do it enough, to be honest with you, because I love it.
Sounds fantastic. And being able to just live life and get those roles and get the work that you're coming into, something that you love so much and so passionate about, which obviously you can hear coming through. And I've spoken to lots of indie actors and independent film makers as well, who to release their films. And you're right, all they talk about is how much of a family it is. I was in one 4 years ago. I was an office worker because I always wanted to do acting when I was younger, Drew, but my parents kind of steered me away. Said it wasn't, it's not a safe career. You look at something, blah blah blah. And I've ended up 20 years in IT, completely different to what I wanted to do. But a friend of ours is a director, and they did a film around here, and they wanted an office worker. And I was like, well, I went as an extra. They gave me script. I actually had words. I had a speaking part as well, which was shocking. And I loved it because they said 12 hours. I was there for 12 hours, and my scene, I think, was 20 minutes. As in, retakes and obviously refilming took 20 minutes. And they were apologising to me, saying, because obviously I had to wait to the end because my character died, nasty, horrible death. At the end, it's like, I sat my hands cuffed behind my back on a cold concrete floor for an hour and a half while the cinematographer was making sure he could capture the light right to get the final light. And it was just like, I had to pretend they threw acid down on my bits down there, and obviously I pretend I threw back and smashed my head on the concrete floor, and they was like, "That's really realistic. That's really good." I was like, "It was real. That's why." I said it was that. I said it wasn't well. I said it wasn't well acted. I literally smashed my head on the floor, and I was like, "Oh."
So you got one take. I got a concussion. Take me to the hospital.
Yeah. But I loved it. That's what I loved seeing. Because it was very close knit. So I was sat back and I was just watching like the cinematographer at work throughout the day, capturing the different, angles of the scenes and watching how the producer and the director were going around. I just loved that whole, being part of that whole thing and seeing it from behind the scenes, because as someone like me, a normal viewer, you don't see that, obviously. So it was really fantastic just to see how things were made like that. It was good.
Well, I tell you, the most important thing about being on set is remember that it's a business. Every time is money. Right. And so as it's clicking away, you're spending money, and it doesn't stop. And so it's respect it as a business, just like anything else. It's a lot. Sometimes as actors and stuff, there's a lot of waiting, and crew waits once the scene starts rolling and stuff, but crew's working, behind the scenes to get it set up. Our job is to show up so it doesn't lag when we show up and be able to do it. So you spend, 7 hours a day getting everything set up, and then 3 to 4 hours a day shooting the day sequence out. But it's amazing. It's once I'm what you see is what you get. I'm really simple, easygoing guy, right? I don't believe in a flash and flare, and I don't. I'm not chasing down fame. If it happens, great. I don't. But if I'm not chasing down fame, I just want to be a working actor. That's why I started. I started acting when I was 30. I was in Tokyo, Japan, and I got a piece of a Dell's computer commercial spiking the ball into a green screen. And me and my translator would go to the camera department, and I'd just ask them a bunch of questions. And they had the old 35s back then. And I was a shy kid. I was like 25 years old, shy kid. And so I came back and I started opening up businesses. And in 5 years, I built 3 retail businesses and a full-blown construction company with partners. I woke up one day going, this is miserable. What am I doing? And I was just chasing money, and there's nothing wrong with chasing money, but I wasn't happy. I couldn't turn it off. Yeah. And I looked back on what made me, I was 30 years old. I looked back on what made me the happiest. And it was that moment in Tokyo, Japan on that set. And then I asked myself, can I do it? And I said, well, I didn't know anything about business, and that worked out. I just was stupid enough, put my head down, never looked up, and made a business, Yeah. And so a couple weeks later, I made the decision. I walked in, I told my partners that I'm going to sell out my position, and I'm going to go chase a dream. And I've never looked back, and I think that's the beauty of it. It's if this is what you want. The best advice I've ever gotten I was in LA. So I spent 11 years in LA, and I'm still back and forth constantly. But I spent 11 years when I first got there. I think it was coming off of Wire and Blood. I first got there, and I was reading for a Kelsey Grammer's series. And one of the casting directors says, all right, Drew, how long are you going to give yourself to make it? And I went, what? He goes, how long are you going to give yourself to make it? You give you 3 years, 5 years before you give up on this stuff? And I go, no, I'm going. I'm not. I don't have a timeline. This is what I decided to do, and I'm doing it. Good, bad, or the ugly. I'll figure it out. I figured out business. I'll figure this out. And I remember the casting director goes, right answer. He goes, because he said, I think it was I forget who it was, but he said, if you'd have told me 3 to 5, I said go do something else, because your life would be a lot easier, and you'll be a lot. You'll have more wealth, and you'll have a lot more. Easy times and not so much stress and anxiety. And that really stuck with me. And so every time somebody asks me, I want to be an actor, I go, is there anything else you want to do in your life? And if they come up with something else, I go do that, because you'll have a lot more fun doing that, probably be more successful than this, because this is it's like the fours, right? It's the right place, meeting. I forget what it all is. It's the right script, character, meeting, opportunity, meeting luck, and then meeting the stuff that you can't control. It's like all these things that come around.
Yeah, it's that's actually really inspiring to hear as well, because it's something I know I've not missed the chance, because I still could do it if I wanted to, but that's why I do my show. Like I said before, it's like, I know, when I started out, I didn't think of, obviously go anywhere. Still got still 7 years on us, but for me, I was like, but I don't care. I love doing this. Financially, I can't do it full time because I'm kind of single income, and unfortunately, that's for me. That's that little leap I can't make. But it's well,
you got beachfront property, man. You gotta
almost, yeah. So yeah, it's just that one leap. But I keep doing this because it's something I love doing this, and I won't give it up. And people do tell me this, so why don't you just give it up? It's like, it goes like you've just said, well, when you're going to be famous, blah, blah. It's like, I don't care if I'm famous or not. I like doing this because it brings enjoyment to me. It brings enjoyment to some people who listen and watch. And it's like, it's got me down to London. It's got me doing things that I never thought I'd do. I was, for example, I'm just not blabbering on about me, but I've been down in London like with independent films. I've hosted their premieres and done Q&A in front of like 300 people in the cinema because I was invited to do that, because I brought them on the show, and we sort of became part of that little family. And so I ended up doing, I never would have dreamt of doing, but I standing on stage with a mic in front. I used to love theatre, but standing with the mic, I rattled off the Blues Brothers, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to that bit. I did that, but with changed the words to be where we were at the time. And it was sent goosebumps down me now, because I just remember how excited and happy it made me feel. And so speaking to actors like you, hearing these stories, I'll do this forever if I wanted to.
I'll tell you right now, and if you ever want to just do it, jump in, just do it. Find a local theater, find local like filmmakers and writers and stuff, because technology has come such a long way that go out there and shoot something, build something, design something. First movie I ever did. It's a bad D horror movie at best, right? But it was a group of 10 people. That was the actors, directors, producers, writers, locations. We did everything. And it was a $3,500 movie because we bought, and it was SD. It was a Canon SD camera. Yeah. We bought the camera, but we learned how to edit. We learned how to do sound. We learned all this stuff. We learned how to do special effects together. Yeah, and for $3,500, we made this movie, and then a sales agent found it. They bought it. They took it around the world, and they came back to us and said, "Hey, can you make us another one?" And so literally, and I found that. And don't ever do this, people out there. Don't ever look on Facebook and find locations. No, Craigslist. It was on Craigslist at the time. So I went on Craigslist and I found an opportunity. I didn't know. I'm a dyslexic actor. I didn't know. I was a blubbering idiot reading out loud with paper in my hand. But then when I realized it wasn't about memorization, it was about listening and responding and stuff. Now I can you give me 5 pages in 15 minutes, I'll be off book. It's been this incredible journey personally for me, learning about myself. But also the first thing I ever did, for $3,500, we sold it, and then they came back and said, "Make us another one, but dump more blood." So we made another one for $1,500 because we started with special effects. Cauliflowers or brains blowing out of. We're doing this whole. We're just creating stuff, and it would have never happened if I would have never just took a chance on myself and said, "Hey, let's go see where it goes," and being open. The other thing is just be open. Don't be so entitled. Just enjoy your life, enjoy the journey. And who knows, you may decide that being in front of the camera is not the place you really want to be. You want to be behind the camera, because it's a team. A team creates what your end result. It's not just the people that you see on camera and stuff. It takes an army of people that, and rightly so, deserve a lot of the credit just as much as the people in front of it.
Yeah.
we never stop to think about that much. And so there's so many opportunities, so many great things. It's just, where do you want your stress level? Where do you want your enjoyment? Where it makes you happy?
Exactly. I did do a little film. My son did it a couple of years back when he was about 11 or 12. And he did one on the beach, not our beach. It was a little, when we go a bit further away to a nicer beach. And he did this with his friend called Marooned. And he did it for a local film festival. And he actually came, he won. Basically, they'd fallen off a ferry, fallen off a cruise ship, and it was just him and his friend. And I filmed it all just on an iPhone. Like you said, you can do technology. I filmed it on an iPhone. Yeah. And I did a video and did some sound editing with him afterwards. I showed him how to do a little bit of that. Not an expert, so I was just fiddling and showed him what we can do, edit it a bit. And he ended up winning. It was only like a 10-minute little film. But he loved it. So I'm trying. There's lots of, like you say, the technology is there. You can just pick up a phone now and just go out and make a film if you wanted to. Yeah. Obviously, like a budget one.
The biggest thing about production is that you have to be responsible for the money. If a bunch of friends get together and not doing it and stuff, then the money is not really the responsibility anymore. It's just you guys creating the best product that you possibly can. Yeah. And like you said, there's really no excuse anymore, because in post you can fix a lot of the audio, and everything else. You can the coloring and as long as you can capture, physically capture the image that you're trying to, and it's not too dark, or it's not too blown out, and you can capture audio tracks. You can go back and ADR them in, and I've done it in my closet and with a sheet over my head, talking into my iPhone and sending it back in. It's amazing how creative you are is how that product's going to turn out. And it's a collective thing. And so you just rely on your friends and your family members and everybody around you. And you just do it, because if you wait until it's perfect, you'll never get it done. You'll never get it done. Sometimes you just got to set the date and say, this is where we're going, and backtrack.
Yep. Totally with it. I totally agree. Because just go out and step and be brave and take that step.
Yeah.
Fantastic. We're not talking about all this time. We're actually going to talk about your film that you're doing, Desperate Riders. That's a new one that's coming out. Tell me about, I can't even speak. Tell me a bit about that for me, please, Drew.
Well, Desperate Riders, we shot that last February, actually. We had this huge snowstorm come through. We shot it up in Tennessee. Trace Atkins, Tom Berger, and just a list of other great cast members. But it's funny. I love Westerns. I'm a Texas boy. I ride, I rope. I grew up breaking horses. Horses are my spirit animals, horses and dogs. But I got an opportunity. Michael Pfeiffer was producer director on this one. And I've worked with him in the past on a few projects, and he called and asked me, "Hey, you want to play lead in this?" I'm like, "Yeah, I get to ride horses. Are you kidding me? Absolutely." And so I jumped in, and it's one of those kind of grungy, unforgiving westerns that I've been dying to do. But the funny thing is we're up in Tennessee shooting this thing. First week, it's 68 degrees, gorgeous. Second week, the blizzard comes in, drops 13 inches of snow. And so, we had to rewrite the script to make it feel like we went up into the mountains so we could live in the snow for a week. And then, we're building fires, we're doing all this stuff. And then third week, all the snow's melting. So we go back to do creation. But it's a lot of fun. It's a great little story. Trace Atkins plays the antagonist, and I play the guy chasing him down. So it should be good. We're excited. Lionsgate's taking it out February 25th. They're going to do a theatrical run on it.
Oh, nice.
We'll see how that goes, and if it does well, they'll keep taking it out, and then it should be on demand and all the streaming platforms shortly after that.
Fantastic. Sounds like great fun, especially Texas. You get to do your thing that you've always wanted to do. It's like doing some good old cowboy work.
I've made my career doing the four C's.
Oh yeah, coaches,
cowboys, and captains.
It's fantastic, and as I say, it's just I love a good western as well. I really do. My dad was always a big fan of westerns. My wife, I can't watch them now because my wife doesn't really watch them much, so I kind of watch them in secret. Because my dad was always raised me on, Clint Eastwood and stuff like that. It's just the man with no name, and there's just spaghetti westerns are some of the best.
Oh, I got 2 scripts coming. I can't wait to start reading them just for that purpose, because I want to do another Western. And this time we're going to produce it and direct it. But yeah, I'm excited. I've already started scouting. I've already, put my team together. I'm getting excited about it.
Fantastic. You've also in a series, which I know you have been filming, which is Love and Death, which is, it's got Scarlet Witch in it, Elizabeth Olsen. Elizabeth, yeah, she's great, isn't she?
Yeah. My goodness, man. She's, you want to talk about very well trained and executed actress. She is unbelievable. She's like watching a masterclass on set. She really is. And then I get to work with Jesse Plemons again and Brad Leland again. Just another great cast. But we've been shooting it. We started shooting that back in October. It's a 7-series arc for HBO. It's based on a true story about a murder that took place in the 80s in Wiley, Texas. The funny thing about Wiley, Texas, when I got out of the military, I moved to Saxe, Texas, which is right next to Wiley, Texas. This is Saxe, then Wiley, and there may be an eighth of a mile in the center of center.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
And so I heard people talking about it, but I never really paid much attention to it.
Yeah.
And now I'm,
you're doing a film about it. So. Series. Yeah.
We just started back up episode 105 and we go back in. I go back in on episode 106.
All right. Okay. Excellent. That sounds really good. And it's, I would like to watch that. Like you said, I like Elizabeth Olsen and the way you've talked about her there and how professional she is. It sounds fantastic. I've seen clips of her with the humor for the Avengers and stuff like that. And it's brilliant. But to hear that, you can see her professionalism when she's on, dedication. So
it's a big production. And of course, COVID and stuff, we're taking the proper precautions and all that, but it slows it down a little bit, but overall, this is a seasoned cast and crew and everything is working like clockwork. It is so well run and it's so relaxed. Leslie, our director, she's the captain of the ship and she's so incredibly enjoyable to be around. It's hard to explain the energy that she brings to that set. And I think every great director, which she is that's what they do well, is they bring an energy to the set and then everybody feeds off of it.
Fantastic. I think that's what it's like that in any business, really. If someone's got the energy, they'll bring it in. I remember this guy who's on Django Unchained with Tarantino's.
Yeah.
And he was Chris Berry. He was one of the cowboys in one of the ranches, I think, at the time. But he said, it doesn't matter who you were. He's a guest. He goes, Tarantino, at the end for the energy, Tarantino came on every morning and people were just sitting there having their coffee, waking up. And he'd be like, apparently he came bouncing in, massive grin, everyone dancing around. We're making a movie today. Woohoo! And he's like, and that's and spurred them on that way. And they said everyone just fed off that energy as well. So to have someone to sort of the cast like Elizabeth, I think Lucifer's another one where you got Tom, people like those guys, and they just bring that energy in, and everyone else just like feeds and boosts in and brings your own energy, and it just makes something special at the end of the day. That's where
listen. It's hard enough to put one together, and get it to the finish line. It's the lead up to it. Sometimes you get lucky and you can turn around and hit one in 6 months, or it may take 20 years, or it may never get done. But once it's your baby and you're locked in, it's your passion and stuff. And so you might as well have fun doing it because that's why you enjoy doing it. You show up to do what you love to do. So don't show up bitter, or you're just reserved, set back from everybody else. Unless it's your character, unless it's your a lot of people it is. But if your character doesn't, if it's not needed or awarded for your character, and you're just doing it, I feel like people miss out on so much. I've had some incredible opportunities to have conversations with well-seasoned, actors and actresses and directors and producers and camera operators. Just take the time and don't get in their space when they're working or when they get stuff done. But when you see a little downtime, man, have a conversation with them, because not only you'll learn something, knowledge will grow, but you may build a friend out of it.
Well, yeah, exactly.
This industry is all about knowing and friendship. Okay.
Yeah, they always say it's who you know and who you know. That's how half my show's got, to be honest. The way I've done it is a lot of it's word of mouth. Like, I mean, I'm interviewing you, and I'm really glad I've managed to speak to you finally. Because it was through Rick Perez, who got, and it's like people and you sort of, my show gets built up because people just come around and go to these little events and meet people, and like you say, film sets, and you meet people. Then it means for future projects for yourself as an actor, it's like, someone might say, oh, actually, I remember Drew was really good on that. Let's bring him in.
Hey, I hope.
Yeah. Fantastic.
I'm vaccinated. I have passport. Will travel. So just
yeah, I'm triple jabbed with my passport as well. I've got my little COVID passport even too. Oh yeah, I know. Hopefully won't be too much longer. I've just realised looking at the time, and like I said to you before, I did joke about it being an hour, and it was actually an hour. We just had so much fun chatting to you. Is there any? You've got a few other projects as well. What are coming out as well? When I say you've got projects,
we have. I got a few more television series coming out. I have a few that I'm out in right now that waiting to hear back. Hopefully, one would hit that I just sent out for. But we have some on the production side we're really excited about. We have a Christmas movie that we're very close on. That I was saying is going to shoot in Ireland if it goes. Mm-hmm. We have a co-writer over there that we met at Cannes about 5 years ago, and we just built this friendship. That's another thing. We took our last film to Cannes about 5 years ago, and we took our investors and stuff and just did the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And me and my wife hit the red carpet for a showing. We were decked to the heels, and we snuck out a little early. It was subtitled, and it was hard for me to read it. So I was like, let's go. And so we went to a little restaurant area on the little alleyway area down in. We're sitting there eating, drinking a little wine, and all of a sudden, behind us, you just hear a group of guys just cutting up, having the best time, right? And waiter comes, taps me on the shoulder, and hands us over 2 shots, and he goes, from the blokes back there. And I turned around and I said, cheers, guys. And they said, we're so sorry. Looks like we're ruining your night. We are so apologetic, blah, blah, blah. And we ended up spending the rest of the night with them, and they own a production company in Ireland. And so we just started collaborating on things, and the dynamics of the humor and the way they write versus the American side of the way we write, it translates very well. And so we're excited about
nice
what we have coming up with them.
And it's only a 30-minute ferry ride from Ireland to North Wales, where I am. So yeah.
Come on
part of Ireland, I suppose. Yeah.
Come on over, we'll put you in. I'll give you a couple of speaking lines. Let's go.
See, I've got that recorded now. I'm going to take you up. Oh, excellent. Is there anything before I sort of stop the recording, Drew? Is there anything you'd like to say to people who are watching or listening to this right now?
Listen, thanks for watching. Thanks for be a part of, entertainment and social media and keeping people aware of what's going on first and foremost. And everybody out there, go out and see something, be a part of it. The entertainment industry and the arts, we need it. We need it in our lives just to break up the monotony and the stress level. We need to laugh, cry, and be angry at something else in the world. So go out there and support it. Be a part of it. If you have time and it's near you, check it out. They have Desperate Riders coming out February 25th. Lionsgate's taking it out. You'll see this ugly mug.